Preston makes a birthday wish list.
Mm-hmm.
Number 1 is to have his brothers murdered.
Mm-hmm. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, well, I don't have any brothers, so I guess I
Neither
can't
do
say
I.
for sure.
From Walt Disney Pictures, this morning, Preston Waters got something
What's on my bike?
Let's check your dad. He'll know what to do with it. That's going to change his life.
Blank check. Yeah!
Now he's buying more stuff,
You have a house.
meeting more women,
Baby brother comes into his own.
and stopping 3 crooks
I'm gonna get you, kid.
from taking all of his money.
That must hurt.
Disney's Blank Check. Now playing at a theater near you. Check newspaper for showtimes.
I hate this movie. I hate this.
Do you?
Okay. I am really fighting my childhood love of this movie and my adulthood hate of this movie.
So
my
do you
first note of this
remember-
movie, I hate this movie.
Wow. Do you remember liking it?
I remember liking it. I remember it being like the ultimate.
Like, wow, what a movie.
It wasn't even like this is a good movie. It's like he's got $1 million. I'm him. I would do all those things. Ice cream,
So
TV.
this is my question, though. Do you like the movie or do you like the idea of the movie?
I think when I was a kid, I liked the idea of the movie.
Because if I may, I don't think I liked the movie.
No,
However, did he have a water slide entrance in
sure
his room?
he sure did.
Well, guess what? I'm all in, baby. Let's do this. Because once I saw that, I'm like, holy hell.
Yeah.
I had no idea that was possible. What a great idea.
Yeah.
I think anything else after that, I was just like, great. But once we get into the specifics too, and
Yeah.
like the purchases that he made, the choices of the movie,
The relationship
not
with
well
Shay,
executed.
The relationship. This movie should be a horror movie. His relationship with Shay, it was like I was watching a horror movie the whole time, waiting for them to kiss.
Yeah.
Waiting for them to like flirt. I was like, no,
Yeah.
please, no. Like, I know the killer's coming. I see him, and you're not running. Like,
Yeah.
it was real. It was a real tough watch. And as a kid, I'm sure I was 2 thumbs up for everything, every aspect of this movie. But I went in this movie with fear, and it was met with reason.
When it came out in 94.
Yeah.
So you were 9?
Yeah. No,
Or 10?
I guess depends on what time of the year,
Okay.
but probably 9.
I did not look at the month.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah, same. So I was 9 or 10.
Yeah.
So it's in my wheelhouse of like, someone gives you a bunch of money, what do you do? And so that inherently is just a wonderful plot. Probably specifically for boys. I'm sure girls have desires of having $1 million.
Sure.
But I think it's every like boy's dream to be like, all right, I'm gonna eat a ton of
Yeah.
junk food. I'm gonna buy a bunch of stuff I don't need. Screw mom and dad. This is happening.
This is my house, my rules.
It got a 5.3 on IMDb and 9% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I feel like whenever I see the IMDb, it totally breaks bad to whatever the next rate the Rotten Tomatoes is, because it's either the audience or Rotten Tomatoes thinks it's great and IMDb doesn't, or vice versa. I feel like they're rarely like in sync.
This is not one of the higher rated 90s movies. I looked like side by side of all the other 90s movies that are like familiar to me in my youth, and this is on the lower end. You have like the upper echelon of probably like Sandlot. I think Angels in the Outfield is closer to the higher end.
Yeah.
This is definitely not. Did it win any awards? I couldn't find any
I didn't see it.
record of it, but I can promise you that it did not win any awards.
I mean,
unless it was like a Razzie or something,
Yeah.
which I don't think existed back
Yeah.
then.
the rating was accurate. PG, only one hell that I caught, or maybe 1 or 2, but not a lot of swearing in this movie. Not a lot of cussing for a PG in the 90s, which
No.
they could have gotten away with a lot more.
Probably.
Budget $13 million. Wow. Grossed $39 million.
Okay.
I think in premise, this movie, one of the notes I made was, I'm surprised this movie wasn't like an absolute smash, because in theory, Home Alone is a kid fighting off, like that's like a kid fantasy movie too. Like you fight off all the bad guys.
Right.
this is a kid fantasy movie. You get $1 million, go nuts.
Right.
So in theory, not in execution, this is a hit.
I'm so glad you brought up Home Alone and that in theory it should be amazing, because the one review that I read, I guess the actor that plays Preston, Brian Bosnell or something,
Yeah, that sounds right.
he played Michael J. Fox's younger brother in Family Ties, and they were saying like this is just Michael J. Foxy tropes the whole time, his mannerisms with a little Macaulay Culkin sprinkled in. But I'm watching this and I don't see any Macaulay Culkin. Maybe like the attitude,
Yeah.
but the choices this character makes of like you have Home Alone, Kevin is eating junk food, ordering cheese pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do today.
Yeah.
This kid is wearing like suits, getting fitted for Italian suits,
Yeah.
wearing them even when it's not necessary, and buying like early version of virtual reality. What?
He's cocky.
What?
He's rambunctious, I would say. He's cocky. He spends his money in different ways than, to your point, than I typically would, aside from, maybe the virtual reality ice cream, but like, yeah, it feels like they watched Home Alone, they had this idea, and then
They were so close, though.
What happened to it?
So maybe this is a good time to get into his expenses.
No, hold on. That's too juicy. We need to win that. Basic plot.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so after a bike accident, a young boy inadvertently gains possession of a check for $1 million and proceeds to spend it, unaware that the gangsters to whom it belongs are in pursuit. Also, another plot that I saw was, after committing check fraud,
Yes, this is the one I saw.
Preston Waters lives out his 12-year-old fantasies by spending $1 million in 6 days, but he quickly realizes he can't quite handle the consequences. Miguel Ferrer and Brian Bonesall star in this 1994 classic that will leave you asking, why didn't this kid get grounded?
That's the question you ask? Why didn't this kid get grounded after all of that?
There's a litany of questions I have. That's not one of them.
My basic plot described poorly is an 11-year-old tricks an idiot into giving him $1 million.
I mean, I'm in. That's
and fill in the blank on who the idiot is.
Yeah, there's lots of them.
It could be the banker, or what, I don't even know his official title.
Yeah.
But not great at his job.
No.
And then you have this criminal that has $1 million in a briefcase.
Yeah.
Trying to keep a low profile, but also not trying to keep a low profile.
Right.
Like so many things throughout this movie where you're like, okay, I get it. This is hokey. You got 3 guys chasing a kid.
Yeah.
We're going to fall in some water at some
Yep.
point. We're going to...
Someone's gonna get a hot dog stolen out of their hand. Like it's all there.
Come on.
Yeah, I definitely, one of the notes I made was when Preston goes to the banker and there's the misunderstanding of, oh, you're the guy that I should be giving $1 million
Right.
to. What is that banker thinking? Like he's thinking, oh, this is genius. It's a kid. Then no one will suspect this. Come on, man. You run a bank. Aren't you smart?
So Biderman is the character's name. I just wrote down, Biderman gives $1 million from a criminal to a child in his backpack. And this entire time he's thinking, okay, and some things add up. Juice, no thank you, I'm not thirsty.
Yeah. Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect
wow.
line.
Well, that
I wrote
must
that.
mean this is the one. This is who this guy sent to take his money.
Yeah. Well, you'll be pleased to know that you're not the only one. We're not the only ones who had issue with this movie.
Roger?
I was desperately trying to find Roger.
He probably hasn't seen it.
I could not find it. I could not find him.
Because he didn't watch it.
So I found Entertainment Weekly, someone by the name of Glenn Kenny. He says, this witless Home Alone knockoff offers a hymn to the joys of conspicuous consumption with one hand and snatches it away with the other, closing with a pat family values sermon. Tyke, an annoying Brian Bonesall, has fun with the $1 million he's snagged by cashing a gangster's blank check, then realizes he'd rather be home with the kin who physically torture him. Makes sense to me, D-.
Yeah. My least favorite scenes, number 1 is the first scene of the movie when his older brothers
I hate the
move
brothers. They're horrible.
all of their business equipment into his room, and the parents are just like, calm down, Preston. Oh, what? They have a business. They're go-getters.
Yeah.
You're not. Okay. How old are they, first off? They have this business, which what do they do?
I don't know what they do.
And the name of the business
Oh,
is
it's horrible.
Hand and Foot.
It's too much the imagination there.
What do they
What kind of
do?
jobs are they?
Well, they need equipment. They need computers. They have to be stored.
Yeah.
And clearly, Preston knows how to use these computers more than they do.
Yeah.
It
They
just,
should be bringing them into the family business.
The parents suck.
Yeah,
The-
they're bad.
And a question I asked is, I don't know if there are any good parents in a 90s movie.
Right. They can't be on top of it.
But these are exceptionally awful parents.
Mm-hmm.
Just like completely clueless. They're yelling at Preston
Yeah.
to, I don't know for what. His brothers are just like punching him, telling him to suck it up.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would want to move out too. Like,
Yeah.
and I get you have to lean into that hard at the beginning because then like, oh, he finally gets to move out
Yeah.
and live his life.
Mm-hmm.
But come on, mom and dad.
Get in there. You got to do the work. I saw a random user on Disney Wiki, which reviews all the Disney movies. Their review is, wow, I like this movie. I can't believe a kid would just spend $1 million in one go. That's your issue with this movie? You can't believe a child would easily spend $1 million.
Obviously, they can. I don't know how he did $1 million in cash in 6 days. Back then,
It's impressive.
what do? You just call people up saying, I have cash? Like,
Yeah.
there's no online ordering, which even
He-
then, how would you do like today, cash? So you have to hand this to someone. He doesn't have a car.
Right.
He can't. How are you just handing over wads of cash to people?
Also, while simultaneously, he has a lot more knowledge of finances and money than any child
Than I
should.
do now.
And even still, a whole subplot is that his dad is saying, you need to be better with money, you need to save your
Right.
money. It's like,
He
he
seems
knows
pretty good.
He knows his shit. Like, give the kid some
Investing,
credit.
he does have like a stock market computer
Yeah.
up. I don't know if he invested any money in that,
Well-
but he's at least in the know or
He's- yeah.
wants to be.
Yeah, he's interested.
He wants to cover the closing costs.
That's,
of
I
this
wrote that
house.
down. How does a kid know what closing costs are? I don't even know what closing costs
Don't
are.
know. Can we talk about the house?
Yes.
Okay, so I looked it up. It is, well, the listing in the movie, it's $220,000 in Hillsdale, Indiana.
Okay.
I don't know how a castle appears in Indiana,
Mm-hmm.
but it says it was built as an addition to an 1800s water tower in 1948. Only 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
That's not a lot for a mansion.
And how does this elderly couple come into occupying this house and now they're looking to move out? The criminal comes in all cocky, smoking a cigar, like undercutting their offer and so confident that this is it. What is there a deadline?
Yeah.
Like, how does he know that he's going to get this house?
I said, is this ever how a house has been purchased? This whole scenario where they're bidding
I
live.
can imagine it has. It is an actual castle in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
It sold in 2005 for $2 million.
Well, if Preston
So-
would have held on to it, he would
He
have made
should have.
That was the
think of
investment.
the
Just buy and sit.
but 220,094
yeah.
seems low.
Yeah. It seems like a steal.
And the guy was offering like 180 or something, and was so confident he was gonna. I don't know. I'm not understanding.
I again, looking at the finances, you brought the personal accounts here. You've laid it all out beautifully. I appreciate this.
Yes, it was a screenshot, so I didn't do
Right.
too much work.
What is the first thing that stands out to you?
I don't know what Plan 442 is. It says it costs $300,000, so I'm wondering if that's the house, because that's what the house went for.
Plan 442, I don't know what the details are. It's his dad's big thing. It's his dad's plan to do something.
Okay.
So when they're at the dinner table, that's how he kind of gets back into his dad's good graces is, well, I was going to tell Mr. McIntosh about Plan 442. And then all of a sudden he gets excited and says, well, let me drive you over there. So I never really put together what it was, but it was his dad's plan.
I thought it was, well, the fact that it's exactly $300,000 and that's what he paid for the house, although plus closing costs, so I
Right.
don't know. But the things that stick out to me, let's see here.
We'll take it from the top.
Security system. I mean, that's probably smart. If you got a
$23,000?
mansion. Seems steep, but fine. Video system, which is separate from security.
I imagine that's the wall of TVs.
35.6 for that. Seems excessive. Racetrack, 26 grand. Batting cage. 12,000. Who's your batting cage
Yeah.
guy? Who's
Listen,
setting this up?
This is going to be a theme throughout this show is finances, and we got to who are we talking to? You got to get a couple of bids first and find your
Right.
deal.
He only had 6 days to do all this. A slush puppy machine?
Mm-hmm.
Does that just mean a slushy machine?
Yeah,
Are they called slush puppies?
I think the
name of the machine?
Yeah, like Band-Aid is out like Kleenex.
I like the name.
Yeah.
Round trip to Chicago. When did that happen?
I think I was trying to think. I think that was. I'm assuming that's either when he went with Henry, like there was like a shopping spree or a
Yeah.
limo. Where I saw that and was like, when was that? And I just
And
I don't
if
know
it's
that they
in
mentioned it.
Indiana, I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
that's not that far.
Okay.
But what is the round trip? Is it they hopped in a plane because there's no footage of that, or is it they
guess.
just took the limo all that way because that and gas probably makes sense.
Matt Kids Park, 40 grand.
That's
The slide is 12 grand.
what is Matt Kids Park? I was going to ask. Is that when they go to that theme park? Just going there?
I don't know. I do not know. Horizon virtual reality.
See, that to me, that seems about right. In the 90s, a virtual reality thing, that
30
seems
grand?
like, yeah, sure. That you
Okay.
could convince me of that.
And date, dinner, necklace, flowers, $925. The dinner looked really pricey.
Yeah, it looked like a fancy
Who am I
place.
to judge?
No.
Maybe he's a good tip or two.
Sure.
So $925, fine.
Yeah.
Miscellaneous, we don't know what that is. The party cost 10 grand. That was the deposit
Right.
only.
That's what I didn't understand.
Then the woman comes in saying, "Oh, he owes me another 100 grand." Preston freaks out and she's like, "Well, that's a lot of money for you and I, but not for him."
Right.
The only thing that I can see at this party are julienne slices of peppers and loaves of bread.
They're really nice, though. Really nice loaves of bread. Like a sourdough. Like
And
a
that
crackle.
cost 110 grand?
It's about the essence at the party. It's about, there's
The
so much that
lighting's
goes-
nice. There's a stage. I honestly, I was looking for other food. Like I even watched the party scene a second time to just see, am I missing something? Is there like shrimp cocktail? There are drinks. So, okay. But, and then my question is, who is invited to this party?
Right.
How did they get an invite? Because it was thrown together so quickly.
Sure.
And Preston doesn't know anyone.
True.
Mr. McIntosh isn't real. So who are these people in the
making out in the stairwell, like
in the Hillsdale, Indiana area that are close enough to be like, we'll be there.
Wait,
Birthday party.
person
Yeah,
I don't know,
coming.
mansion. I'm already dressed for it.
I want to see the guest list,
Yeah.
please, if I may.
That scene was one of my favorite parts of this movie was from that scene when you see all of them pouring champagne and doing a cheers with it. They're just pouring the champagne with no regard. They're
No,
all
they don't
laughing.
care.
It looks like it's a scene where a bunch of rich people are about to get overthrown. Like it's like they're all so cocky and having so much fun. I actually laughed out loud at that scene when I saw it because some of the stuff is seemingly kind of like, oh, this is a real thing, and then all of a sudden there'll be a ridiculous shot like that where I'm like, it catches me off guard, and I laughed. I had a good laugh at that.
I want an alternate ending where it just goes terribly awry.
This could have been a movie that had a darker version of it for sure.
Like Terminator walks through the door. If we could combine movies and
like
things
he comes back,
happen,
he comes back to wreak havoc on his virtual reality set that he bought for
That'd be
30
great.
grand and came to life. Something I wanted to touch on. Obviously, the crux of why I hate this movie so much is his relationship with Shay. This movie does not pull any punches in that pretty much throughout it, it's all leading to that.
Yep.
The tagline to the movie is, when Preston Waters sees an opportunity, he takes it. Okay? That to me is pointing towards that. When I think it's the opening scene, when they're bringing the computer in, the dad says, "It'll teach you everything, but how to make love to a woman." Mom chimes in, "I know what to get your dad for Christmas." To the kids. That's their joke to the kids.
Ooh, yeah.
Is this computer going to help your dad give me a good time, kids? I'd like one. No reaction. Just another day of mom and dad sex jokes. The whole time I'm like, I feel like I had to have a mouth guard. Like I was gritting my teeth like, oh God, it's coming. And I don't know when. And I'm so uncomfortable because I know it's on the way.
The kiss, I think I blocked out.
I have PTSD.
I knew it happened and I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I think my 10-year-old brain was like, oh, she kisses him on the forehead. So I was shocked to see just full blown
Yep.
on the mouth. I'm
Yep.
like, oh, righty.
Yeah.
He's only 12 at that point.
Yeah.
And then they're arguing back and forth about when he can see her again. And she concedes at the end, finally 6 years, which he'll be 18.
Right.
And I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
my
this is tough. No one's hearing this conversation.
God.
No one wants to chime in and be like, you guys,
Ooh.
maybe not. One of the in my trivia / fact / mythology section,
Good.
I wrote.
Let's do this.
I found in recent years the appropriateness of a scene depicting a kiss between Preston and Shay near the end of the film has been called into question, particularly with Shay's job as an agent with the FBI. Brian Bonsall was 11 years old at the time of filming, while Karen Duffy was 31. Observers Dana Schwartz claimed the kissing scene left her feeling totally grossed out, and Kylie Queen from WJBQ described the act as borderline pedophilia. At best, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
At worst, it's like,
Oof.
yeah, it's a funny thing because I feel like Disney could very well just be like, just cut, just even if you left
Yeah.
everything else, you could just cut the kiss and probably, even though like you would still like have the essence of them basically being in a relationship the whole time, you would be left off of your movie being considered borderline pedophilia.
But to your point too, even if they take that scene out, there's so much
Yeah.
that points to it and leads to it throughout the movie. The last scene of the movie is them. He's blowing out candles on his cake, and his parents say, "Oh, make a wish."
Yep.
And he goes, "Oh, what else do I want? I have everything that I need right here." Sees a picture of her and goes, "On the other hand," that's the final scene of the movie. So even if you avoid the kiss, you're still getting back to like that's the crux of it.
Yeah.
He got $1 million. Meh. All right. What else do I need? Is what he says. Your brother's not bringing all their crap into your room, and your parents treating you like a human.
Yeah.
That could be
could-
something
you
that
could
you
start
might
there.
want. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It sets the movie is set, like to your point, the movie is set up from the beginning. The parents just kind of brush him off. The brothers kick his ass. His friends that he goes to the amusement park with
Are
treat him
they?
like
Are they
dog
friends?
shit. I said, why does he hang out with these assholes?
Everyone's going on rides, and he's just like, I'm gonna watch people go on rides.
Yeah. It's almost like they're going on the rides to spite him, just to
Like
be
to
like
taunt him.
Yeah. Like you go ride the carousel, we'll do the fun roller coaster. Like, why is he even there?
I don't know that he has friends because, and I think that's maybe part of the point of it because
Yeah.
he becomes friends with Henry, the limo driver, which
Right.
thank God for him. He may have saved the movie.
Yeah.
If it could be saved.
Yeah.
It was done by him, because the first thing you would think of at that age, if you come upon money, is, all right, I'm having my friends or my best friend or whatever, but someone is coming over to share this with you.
Yeah.
The fact that he is not able to call upon anyone, you just got Butch who knows where he lives. Great. I don't know.
Yeah.
He must not be popular.
When Henry first came on in the movie, it concerned me because I was like, is this also not an issue of just some strange man is now hanging out with a kid, and that's fine. But Henry never gave me pause for concern. He was the comedic relief. Every time I got
Yeah.
concerned, he'd come in with jokes that actually made me laugh.
He has some good
Yeah,
ones.
he has solid lines.
How to Skin a Cat.
That scene I set for favorite scenes. Him going through all the metaphors and like just kind of
And
botching them.
I wonder how much, if that was ad-libbed.
Yeah.
Part of me feels like that could not have been written in. Maybe he just has a great delivery, but yeah,
That was solid.
Same here.
But there is a lot of through line I noticed, similar to where we're gonna touch on these movies that all are kind of interconnected. This movie, you've got Shay, who is one of the bad guys in Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
You've got Tone Loc, who's in a movie with Jim Carrey, Ace Ventura. So they've got this Jim Carrey connection.
Yes.
Also, Blank Check and Ace Ventura were two of the top 3 movies at that time that came out. So Tone Loc was in 2 of the top 3 movies in the country.
Which is hilarious.
Which, in my mind, I'm like, how did he not have like a lush film career after that? Like, how do you not roll that into... And he's funny. Like, he's not bad. And
No.
Like, he was funny in Ace Ventura, too.
Yeah, he's funny in this and Ace Ventura. I did not realize that Karen Duffy, who plays Shay, her character in Dumb and Dumber, also named Shay.
He just blew my
And
mind.
in both movies, she's looking for a briefcase filled with money. And both movies came out in 94.
There had to
What
be a
is
producer.
happening?
There's a shared producer. There's somebody, maybe one of the editors, someone's involved. This is an inside job.
Last trivia or mythology of the movie that I found, Preston's one brother is Michael Faustino, who's the younger brother of David Faustino, Bud Bundy from Married with Children.
Wow.
And if you look at it, you can there is a resemblance for sure. So there's a lot of good 90s juju going through this movie. And Tone Loc is funny in this. Mm-hmm. He does a solid job.
Him and Henry kind of save the movie. Like between the two of them, like it at least distracts me from the fact that Shay and Preston are going to kiss at some point, and I'm very uncomfortable.
Right. And that there are about a million plot flaws in this movie.
Also that.
Is it racist or problematic?
Sure.
I know we've already talked about the kiss.
That's number 1 and 2 and 3.
Okay. Yeah. So number 4, Preston makes a birthday wish list. Mm-hmm. Number 1 is to have his brothers murdered.
Mm-hmm. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay. Well, I don't have any brothers, so I guess
neither do I.
Sure.
Yeah. One of the lines I wrote down, he says is that he wants money to have Damien and Ralph knocked off.
Yeah.
And it's one of 3 or 4 times he makes that joke. Or like,
right. Like it'd be funny if you guys were dead.
He
doesn't say
not
dead
living.
specifically, but
I want you not alive.
We know what you mean.
Yeah.
And then Preston almost gets run over by a car,
mm-hmm.
and his parents ground him for not taking care of his bike. No comment on like, are you okay? No. Oh, your bike's destroyed? Yeah, a car almost ran me over. Well, you need to take care of your things, young man. You think you're going to get another bike
Fiscal
for your birthday?
responsibility, Preston. I don't care if you're injured.
Okay, not even you got a scraped knee? Nothing?
No.
Wow.
I was borderline with when they're doing one of the many rich montages or having fun, him and Henry getting the sumo wrestling outfits.
Yes.
I think I hear Henry do a kind of maybe borderline bad Asian impression where I couldn't tell. I was like, the music's loud. I can't fully tell what's going on. So I was like, I'll let it slide. But there might have been something in there. But what was overwhelmingly apparent was the relationship between him and Shay that is problematic, that I cannot get past, that I will refuse to get past. It's horrible.
I don't even think as a kid watching it where I'm like, this is hot.
This is what I want.
Wow.
Millionaire.
Just
30-year-old
imagine
woman,
the possibilities.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't look this up. I'm assuming his mom is older than Shay, but maybe they're close in age. Like there's just too much where it's like, would a kid really be interested in a 31? And why is she interested in it? It's very off-putting, and it's too much of the plot. It's too much of the movie for my liking.
Clearly, I wanted more of it.
Blank check
Just give me wall to wall.
Shay and Preston are married. They have a family. No one seems to be bothered by it. It's them at family Thanksgiving. Some of my notes are in all caps. One of my first things in all caps was, how in the hell did he put the check in the printer and it prints so well? When he takes the blank check, he just fires that bad boy in there first try. I can't print a normal document well with multiple tries, let alone a check that doesn't fit, that could easily be messed up. And also, that's the one check you got. And he nails it.
His confidence is through the roof.
From 3.
And it pays off.
Yeah.
Even when you're printing with a template, like on labels, it's never centered perfectly. You get some labels that toward the bottom, it's half on, half off. He just cruises through this. He's deleting things. He's adding things. No problem.
He's lucky Frank Abagnale isn't involved here. If he was on the case,
he would have known right away.
Out in a second. 6 days, my ass. He would have been out day 2.
Good Catch Me If You Can reference. Well done.
If I can shoehorn Catch Me If You Can in this, I will gladly do it. I loved the fact that Tone Loc's name was Juice. That's a great 90s bad guy name. That was one of my favorite things in the movie. The connection to Dumb and Dumber I enjoyed, and also Ace Ventura. Just Jim Carrey connecting the dots here. I enjoyed when the banker asks Preston what he wants, the bills, what kind of bills he wants. He says regular sized. Like there's a couple, there's sneaky funny lines in the movie.
And that prove that he is a kid. So okay,
Yeah.
he knows about closing costs and other things, but
But deep down,
he still has no clue what the heck he's doing.
Yeah.
Great. Speaking of people, I have some questions. So Biderman's whole job was to launder the money, which clearly he has done this before because the criminal, whatever his name is, I don't even know.
I wrote it down.
Who cares? It's not even important.
It
Who
doesn't
cares?
matter.
The bad guy.
Yeah.
He asked Biderman
Quigley.
to launder this money again. Great. But he doesn't do it because when the real estate agent brings that money to the bank, then Shay shines her little black light on the bills and it
Sees
shows
FBI.
FBI on
Right.
it. So he didn't launder the money.
Yeah.
He just literally took the money, kept it in his safe, and then handed it out a few days later. You're the worst criminal ever. You don't have to be Breaking Bad good at this.
Yeah.
But a little effort?
Yeah.
Please.
If
You got a
could.
hidden safe in the wall.
Yeah.
That is literally all the work that you did.
Yeah.
And then Quigley, trying to keep a low profile,
Mm-hmm.
because you can see a few times he's nervous. He runs over Preston's bike. There's a cop nearby, and he's like, "Oh!"
Yep.
So that's why he hurriedly gives him the check
Yeah.
because he's concerned.
Mm-hmm.
However, he has no problem trying through open fields. He narrowly avoids running over multiple people, and then he ultimately just crashes his car on top of two other cars
Mm-hmm.
while running around with a banker and Juice, who is Juice another criminal? Is he just a dude?
Yeah.
But the three of them together, they don't stick out at all.
No.
And I get that's like a movie trope too, where like they're all together chasing the kid.
Yep.
It backfires terribly. He gets away. He's saying yes. That's a very Kevin McAllister,
Sure.
Home Alone thing. Fine, but three of you, you can't outrun an 11-year-old. Well,
No.
I mean, they're fast. I get
Yeah.
it. My stamina is terrible, but you're also in a vehicle.
Yeah. Tone Loc, he threw up in the car because of it. Like,
You can look where he is. I mean, finally at the end, they find out from Butch,
Yeah.
oh, where does he live? This is the first that you're thinking maybe that's a good idea.
yeah.
They're not good at their job.
They're not very good. No. This movie, like other great 90s movies, incredible uses of montages, some great shopping, having fun, living up your life, kid fantasy movies. I mean, I think the giant ice cream tub is probably top 5 like best food in a kid's movie. Like you'd want that, you'd want the pizza from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like there
Yeah.
are scenes in movies as a kid where you go, that
That's
version
what
of
I
that.
would have done.
I like pizza, but I want that pizza. I want that giant tub of ice cream. So that when I think of Blank Check, if I try to block out the trauma that has caused me,
Yeah, focus on the food.
I think the giant tub of ice cream. That's a highlight.
And that's kind of twice, right? They do ice cream early on, and then at the very end,
Yeah.
Henry gets the big like garbage
Yep.
bin full of it.
Yeah,
I don't know where he got it from.
I don't ask questions.
That's not on the expenses either. How much? That cannot be cheap. Well, Haagen-Dazs is.
yeah,
and
and
that
it's a name
costs-
brand. That's not like Jewel brand or
Coca-Cola,
cheap brand.
Haagen-Dazs, Charles chips. I don't know what that is. And Nabisco costs $19.36. So, all right, almost $2,000 for junk food.
Costco's not around then. Sam's Club.
I don't think so.
You gotta.
I don't
you
think
gotta
so.
think smart for a
Yeah,
kid
be
who's
thrifty.
for being so fiscally responsible. You're really swinging and missing. On
And how much are
something.
you really going to eat of that?
That's true.
I
That ice
know in
cream's
your
melting.
heart you want to eat a gallon or 5 gallons of ice cream. It's not going to happen.
No.
I worked at Oberweis. So I can tell you right now. Not going to happen, man. A quart at the most. That's
Yeah.
all you got in you.
And then you've got diarrhea not in you anymore.
No.
I think there are decisions that in this movie that feel purposeful, that they do on purpose, that they thought about, and there are also decisions that feel like it could have been easily remedied and they just chose not to. One of them, a nitpick.
Please.
Obviously.
Yeah, let's get into that.
The headset that they put on Preston is 12 sizes too big for him when he is ordering people around at the house. It is like, it's not like it's a little off. It is obscenely like around the other side of his head to the point where I noticed it and could not get past it.
All I
felt
could
like-
focus on was he was wearing a suit.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, there is no 11, 12-year-old that's
Yeah.
willingly wearing suits.
Yeah.
So, all right, you focused on the audio.
Right.
I focused on
Yeah.
the comfort.
Yeah.
Again, as a dad,
Yeah.
at no point have I ever requested, hey, mom and dad, you think we could pick up a suit?
Yeah. And then also just wear that all the time. And you got to get that dry cleaned. Yeah,
It's
hopefully not
summer.
staining it.
They're in
You're
Indiana,
sweating through
but
it.
still, yeah, it's got to be warm out.
Yeah.
You have a pool that you're in frequently.
But being rich means you wear a suit all the time. That's if this
Not
movie
for
taught us
me.
anything, this movie has been brought to you by Men's Warehouse. You're gonna like the way you look, I
I
guarantee.
guarantee it. Is it time for the fan favorite category of Are They Alive?
Only because so many more of my notes have to do with Shay and Preston's relationship and
God.
how uncomfortable it makes me.
I don't know how much more you can say about it.
I will say, you know, if I'm going to talk about things I like quickly,
Shay and Preston.
Quigley popping the balloon with the cigar, excellent bad guy
It is
trope.
fun. Yeah,
Love that.
that was good.
Preston, this line absolutely destroyed me. When he leaves, there's a scene where he leaves the house, and it's like a Wes Anderson, like perfectly lined up. He's in the middle, then his brothers and his parents. Turns around, put his glasses on, says, "Later, toads." I fucking lost it. And now, when I leave the house, I tell my wife and
Later,
my children,
toads.
"Later, toads." Thank you, blank check.
Is that I wonder what that means.
It means nothing. There's so much of 90s slang that truly,
Like when you break it down,
yeah, it means
it's
nothing. It's just
a word.
Yeah, it's just a fun word to say. So it. Oh yeah, let's go into your category because I can double back to
God.
some. I
Yes.
can double back to some of
All
my.
right,
other issues.
let's take a break from your anger and we'll liven it up a bit.
Okay.
Or will we? Are they alive?
This segment's gonna need its own theme song.
So Henry the driver,
Mm-hmm.
Rick Ducommun, alive or dead?
Alive.
Unfortunately, he died in
No.
2015 at the age of 62. Complications with diabetes in the
Henry.
hospital.
I
He was Canadian too. Clearly a nice guy.
Yeah.
Which is I felt like the way that he talked. I'm like him and Rick Moranis.
John Candy.
I feel like
he's kindred spirits for sure.
should have stayed around. God rest his soul.
Do you think the producers of Blank Check are responsible, seeing as they've had so much ice cream in this movie? Do you think there's a connection to where Henry's family have a legitimate lawsuit? That's my question.
Yeah, I didn't want it to come to this.
Yeah.
but I don't want us to get sued.
Right.
But
On to
I
the
can
next
say
one.
with 100% certainty they're
Yeah.
to blame.
Mhm.
Yeah. Without this movie, he's still alive today.
All right.
So
I'm 0 for 1. Let's keep it going.
Rick Ducommun's family, get on that.
Best wishes.
All right. The dad, James Rebhorn,
He's
which
still alive.
all I've known him in also is like Independence Day. He's
Yeah.
in that.
Mhm.
I can't remember anything else he's in, but he sucks anyway.
Yeah.
He is also dead.
What?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Age of 65, 2014. I didn't get his ailments,
Right.
but he is no longer with
Both
us.
young though. 60?
62 and 65.
Yeah, that's too young.
All right.
All right,
Tone
0 for 2.
Lock.
That's Tone Loc to you. He's got to be alive. He's alive. Come on.
He's
Okay,
alive.
thank
He's
you.
alive. But
Give
if
me-
he weren't,
Yeah.
I'd be crushed. And I would have brought it up prior to this
Yeah.
moment too, because
Yeah.
I couldn't keep it any
That's
longer.
true.
And then Karen Duffy, who plays Shay,
She's too young. She's alive.
she's also alive.
Okay.
The others I thought were too obvious. So, yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
2 for 2
Another installment
of my favorite segment.
of everyone's favorite.
Now back to my anger. The necklace
back
Preston
at it.
buys Shay is $20.
How do you know that?
I'm saying it is.
Oh.
And it does not look worth
No.
more than $20.
I thought
He went to Kohl's
So,
and he
okay.
bought a $20 necklace.
you are being generous. To me, it looked like a vending machine one where you're just like the
Yeah.
little egg that pops up,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, sweet.
Shay's neck is turning green after wearing that.
If she wears it,
Yeah.
which she probably framed it, or I don't.
God.
Again, weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Running through the fountain, she's like, "Oh no, this was so much fun. I'm an FBI agent, but also
What
clearly
is
I'm
your
enjoying
problem,
this."
Shay? What are your relationships that now you have endeared a 12-year-old? Okay, I'm gonna move along. The when they're at dinner, Preston falls backwards, grabs the tablecloth.
Yep.
Kudos to him for not getting royally fucked up, because that all the glasses, everything fell right on his face. Like
Yeah.
he would have been annihilated.
Shrimp, lobster. He plays it off pretty well.
Yeah.
I would have been a bit more embarrassed.
Yeah.
Especially you're with an older woman.
Mhm.
You want to
Fancy
impress her.
restaurant, yeah.
He shakes it off really quickly.
If he's got anything, it's confidence in himself
That's that.
for a 12-year-old. Well done. And then so there's the first after that dinner, Shay leaves the car. That was the first time I sat there waiting, thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be a kiss scene," and that's where I realized this movie is not a comedy; it's a horror movie. I'm left in suspense, waiting for the bad thing to happen, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
It's like a weird romantic comedy.
Yeah,
Because she defends him in the FBI van at the end, too.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, listen, if Preston says McIntosh is going to be here, he's going to be here. I got 8 guys ready to run the house. You wait. You wait for my mark. You're going to trust this kid that you've known for 7 days?
I wanted one of those classic like movie like, what's going on with you? Your head's not in this. Like you're falling for someone in the case. Like
No, it never
straighten
comes.
up.
Everyone's just like, all right, this heads up. She knows Preston.
Another 12-year-old Shay. Do we have to have this conversation with you again?
I thought we dealt with this in Pasadena, and now we're doing with it again.
One of the lines I wrote down after, and I should have brought this up earlier, was during the chase scene with Quigley and the banker and Tone Loc. Tone Loc says to Quigley, "Where'd all these kids come from?" Quigley's response is, "Keep driving and maybe one day I'll tell you." Another, this means nothing. Like, but if you say it with enough like bad guy voice or like tone, it comes off as a joke, but it's just nonsense.
There are some good one-liners.
Yeah. None of which I'll name right now.
Yeah, I mean, not that good. But like you said, there are funny moments.
Yes. Henry made me
supplies
laugh multiple
95% of them.
Preston, a couple lines that made me laugh. And so for the
Toads.
most, later Toads, regular size Bills. Like there's parts in it that like, just as I'm about to turn it off, I get pulled back in for another, a little bit longer.
And maybe that's the frustrating part of this movie is that there are some glimmers of hope, but then you get like the parents just being total dicks for no reason or like leaning way too hard into it.
Yep.
That
This movie in the right hands could have been good. Could have been like, if not Home Alone, like very close or successful or another just
it was though.
Yeah.
13 mil brought in 39. You're getting 3 times back. That's
fiscal
darn
responsibility.
good.
Yeah. This feels like also a reoccurring category for this podcast, which is adults abusing children. He grabs the kid, I think it's Quigley, grabs Butch by the ears and lifts him up, like absolutely punishing him.
He did have it.
Right before he hangs him off the building.
That part. So you want to find out where Preston lives and you feel like, well, you're going from 0 to 90 very quickly. You couldn't just be like, okay, tell me where he is.
I'll
and
tell
look
your parents.
menacing.
I'll tell your parents. Like that's like the biggest threat as a kid.
Top
That's all you
of a
need.
building.
Not even like, oh, we'll take you. Yeah, we'll take you to, I don't even know.
Anything.
20 feet up in the air. It's
Anything.
It's a
Hold him
skyscraper.
over a pond or like, I'm going to get your shirt dirty. They just went
If
way
we
over
drop
the
you from
top.
here, you will be no more. You will cease to be.
Yikes.
Yeah. I was scared for him. My fear of heights was reinvigorated.
Full
Yeah, full force. Between my PTSD and my fear of heights, this movie was an absolute thrill ride.
Oh, how did you even make it through?
I didn't. It was hard. It was hard at times, but here we are. Henry does have a line that I don't know if this is him being self-aware or just being completely oblivious, but he does say to Preston as a bit of advice is, anyone who's your friend only for money isn't your friend.
Right.
And I said, that's you, Henry.
Yes.
That's the reason you're friends with
The opening when they meet, he's like, someone with cash, and much like you're holding right now. Yeah, their entire relationship is based on money.
But maybe he's so self-aware he's making a joke on himself. Something else
I don't think so.
I feel like he's sniffing him out the whole time. I feel like there's a couple times he says things in jest where he's like, oh, well, looks like Mr. McIntosh won't be there. Like he says it in a way where I'm like, he knows what's going on. Like he's not oblivious. While everyone else seems to be. I feel like Henry has sniffed this out a bit, but I could be projecting.
He brings the ice cream at the end too. Like he sees how upset Preston is.
Yeah.
He rips on him that he's like, "Oh, Shay's here. Just kidding, idiot. Like have fun. What's going on? Why would she show up?"
The scene of him doing the metaphors and the scene of him at the party with all the food, like that's just I want to think he was just riffing because those were great.
But then Preston disappears and he's like, ice cream, and goes and gets ice cream. So I do think he is trying to teach him.
Yeah.
I don't know how aware he is, but
He's either
I don't care.
It's either so oblivious that it comes back on itself. Either way, it's
Also, the other characters are so bad
Right.
that
That
like
makes him stand
any glimmer of hope, you're just like clutching onto.
Yeah.
So Henry, give me all the Henry I
Yeah.
can. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You're just a good, nice-hearted limo driver.
one of the few shining.
Don't you
moments of
disappoint
this
me.
movie. Now, for all my faults with Shay, I will say her twist of being a secret agent was probably the only good thing about her in this movie. That I didn't expect it. It came and it hit, and I was like, all right, now we got something. We got a little meat on the bone here. Now he's gonna get in some trouble.
So do you think that justifies some of her behavior? Could this have been faux attraction to Preston, where she's just like clearly something is afoot, so
No,
she has to
I think
play it off like
I think they're hand in hand. I think it's like she's already interested in him, and then it's like combination. Like it's also like it supports the case. Like I feel like she's not that good an actress. Like she's into Preston too much, too much. That's just my opinion. Also, if we want to double back to our accounts here, if I may, he ends up with only $300. I mean,
yeah.
he could just sell the things. A lot of those things he could just probably sell. I mean, maybe I know he's in a time crunch. He could probably sell that VR set. He could probably sell the video system. Like there's what I'm just telling you. You're not up against the wall, Preston. You have an out.
Also, these numbers don't make sense.
No, they don't.
So I put it on a spreadsheet, and to me, he only spent $504,000
Versus 900.
999,667. Now, if that 300,000, the plan 442 is not the house, now you got house and closing costs. I don't know what the closing costs are,
Right.
but either way, he's got about $100K left. I don't know. There's some money that's lost in the field. Some people are finding it. Some people take chunks of it here and there. So fine. Let's say you lose 10,000 here or there.
Sure.
You still got a decent. If I stumbled across $70,000 today, I would not be disappointed. So
Wouldn't be the worst part
he
either.
has money.
Yeah.
Granted, he doesn't have $100,000 to pay for
Right.
that party.
Right.
But that woman sucked anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry.
She was not one
You're
of my
dealing with a
favorite
kid and cash. You know this is like a
No good will
a
come of
back
this.
alley deal.
Yeah.
You can't be surprised when this doesn't go the way you expected.
Yeah.
Plus, she kind of screwed him over. She said, "Oh, I want to give this bill to my client so there's no surprises." It's too late for that, sweetheart. The party's happening and you haven't met him. This is gonna be a
This is on
surprise.
you. This is on you now.
Sorry, and this you got sliced peppers and bread.
Yeah. It's not much of a party. Not $100,000 party
No.
for that matter. Have some Haagen-Dazs. Get the
At a very least, Haagen-Dazs.
yeah. And then after that party, one of my notes was how in the hell. So the dad comes up there, heart-wrenching scene. He's talking to Preston.
Was it?
Heart-wrenching.
You also can't see McIntosh's head.
Right.
If he thinks it's McIntosh,
He's just
well, the chair's turned.
Yeah.
So,
you never know.
hey, my son's working hard. Send him home early. Oh, what a dad of the year. Get out of here.
How does that dad get down the stairs into his car and down the road before? Like he must have left the room and then hauled ass out.
Sprinted.
He left with purpose.
Or a fire pole,
Yeah.
some sort of
Well,
means
I didn't
to
see
get
the rest of the house. You
That's
never know.
true.
And also, he rolls Quigley in that giant ball into a pool, murdering him. He would have been.
You can't
dead.
get out of that.
We cut to a scene where he has just been, we're assuming, catapulted out of the ball onto the edge of the pool. Didn't
I'm not
happen.
sure how.
Didn't happen. Quigley drowned in that pool. And now,
Different movie.
now you're going to prison, Preston. Was it worth it? I don't believe
He
so.
might say yes.
I don't. I don't believe so. Here's a question, a legitimate question I have. What is your opinion on when Shay is accosting Quigley and them? Why does Quigley pipe up? Why does he try to take the fall and say he's McIntosh? They're going, who's McIntosh?
Right.
They all kind of stand there and Quigley goes, I'm him. Is his thought, if I say I'm him, I'll get off? I will. Because it can't be that he wants to do right by Preston.
Well, no.
So I'm
He
befuddled.
seems surprised when he's arrested then. I
Yeah.
think the whole point in that is like, yeah, I'm him, so get off my property.
Right, and that is what he says. It's
This
a Hail
is
Mary.
again, we're not dealing with smart criminals here. And I don't know what he went to jail for,
Yeah.
how he got out so easily,
Yeah.
because the beginning of the movie is him running through the rain. He has handcuffs on, but they're separated somehow. And then he finds a suitcase full of money in a warehouse. I don't know. I don't know.
I will say the end when they're getting pulled off, they're handcuffed and they're being pulled away. The I can't think of his name. The banker. He says one of his lines-
Biderman.
Thank you, Biderman. He does say as they're leaving, "I'm a banker. I own a bank." That actually made me laugh really hard. I was like, that those two don't make
No.
because you're a bank, you don't own the bank.
You
but
don't own the bank.
It just
But that shows you how little he knows about this whole thing.
yeah. For someone who owns a bank, and you should be the first one to know that you don't have to be a banker to own a bank. Earlier on in the movie, I wrote down the moral of this movie is definitely be careful what you wish for. And at the end, they actually say,
Be careful
he's
what you
wishing
wish for.
I mean,
Unless
that's
you're wishing for Shay.
unless you're wishing for a woman 20 years your senior. God, horrible. So my favorite things in this movie, Henry. I think he's a shining star amongst smelly
bucket of
farts. The champagne pouring scene I thoroughly enjoyed. Riggs, the cop being named Riggs as a call, and then just Tone Loc in general, I thought was solid. Things that you actually enjoyed about this movie, if there were any.
Yeah, there were. I mean, again, like you said, it was on a tee, ready to be knocked out of the park.
Yeah,
Some of what he does in the montage with Henry seems fun.
great.
I mean, I would not have a racetrack installed in my backyard,
Probably not.
but the water slide, I hate to keep
Absolutely.
going back to that,
Absolutely.
but that's all I could focus on. And I've thought about that a lot.
Yeah.
I really would love to make that happen.
Yeah, there's still time.
Yeah, it might be too late for me, but maybe the kids.
Yeah.
Maybe I can help pull that off one day.
You're not getting any money from me when I pass away, but you're getting a kick-ass slide in your house.
That's all I've ever wanted. That's
For
all I've
them.
ever wanted.
Just when I
Or not.
pass away, just shoot me down a water slide into the ocean if you could.
Done. Let's do this. Right off in the sunset. So yeah, I would say that Henry, and the idea still holds true. If they redid this movie,
Yeah, the premise
I would
is there.
still be all in. Let's.
I'm surprised that this isn't in the litany of Disney remakes or just recent remakes. This one is primed to take a movie that was a good idea, that was not executed all that great or had some parts that were very problematic, and you could redo it and it be not
And
so
Blank
problematic.
Check is such a unbelievable situation to happen, and they have to set up where his grandma sends him a blank check for his birthday first to
Right.
put that idea in his head. Fine, but he could stumble across money in another way.
Right.
You know, like you won the lottery, you won
Right.
a lawsuit,
Yeah.
whatever. It doesn't have to be a blank check.
Right.
But yeah, I still feel like this idea could come to fruition and be executed well.
Right. And in recent times, so all the things you're getting aren't, a 13-inch square TV wall. Like it'll be more recent
Right.
things that look
More
cooler.
modern.
Yeah. It feels like listen,
He
Disney.
gets a Tesla,
and we know you're listening to the podcast. Like
self-driving cars.
we have your movie here. We have your remake slated for 2024.
I'm working on it. I'm working on the screenplay right
Yeah.
now.
As you should. Shay, not invited. On a sadder note, have you seen how Preston / Brian Bonsall is looking these days? Because it's not great.
No.
It's not great. So
All I saw on IMDb were pictures from his youth, which is not ever a good
that's
sign.
all you need to hold on to. So he ended his professional acting career on a high note as Blank Check marked one of his final on-screen appearances. Left Hollywood for a career in music. Brian started several bands and moved to Boulder, Colorado, while he has since had some legal trouble and thrown some bar stools at friends. Brian continues to fight the good fight of balancing his artistic passions with life in the real world. Apparently, the tireless spirit of Preston Waters is alive and well in the heart and soul of Brian Bonsall. Whoever wrote that, endeared and truly
has a
rooting
soft spot for
truly
him.
rooting for him, and I am too. To a
Okay.
certain degree. As we come to the end, as I was happy to come to the end of this movie, is it appropriately rated? Has it been reviewed accordingly? A 5.3 on IMDb. Do you feel as though that is accurate?
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's pulling their punches.
No.
Like the reviews seem to be spot on, other than why didn't this kid get grounded?
Yeah.
But people actually reviewing it are like, here are the positives, here are the negatives, take it for what it's worth.
Yeah.
So Yeah. I mean, I think it's
I
appropriately
think it's
rated.
appropriate. Do we recommend this movie? It depends on who you ask. If you asked me and I was 12 years old, I would say yes. In the 90s, I recommend this movie. You ask me as a father and who is 36, I do not recommend this movie. It makes me uncomfortable just thinking about it.
I think it depends who the audience is.
What audience wants a relationship between a 30-year-old woman and a 12-year-old boy?
So if you're young enough, like Cam watched this and loved it. He's also 5.
Right.
So
And he's also probably not even paying attention to the fact that there's a relationship going. He's just
no,
going water slide,
that's when
ice
he
cream.
walked in the other room.
Yeah.
So when this is a good movie to have on in the background.
Yeah.
And so you can
Don't pay too close attention to it.
Right. You can just
Fair.
come in, see like sumo costume,
Yeah.
racing around.
Having fun.
That is a 5-year-old's wheelhouse.
Sure.
The ADD where you can't watch the whole time.
Yep.
If you are
If you're
even like 12,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I
This
think
movie
you're
was
probably
not
more
made
aware.
for me, a 36-year-old man. I would tell you that much.
Which shame on them for
Yeah.
not making it about you.
This is what I'm paying for the Disney Plus subscription.
That's right.
Not your
and
6-year-old
they raised
ass.
the price $10 for a year.
Excuse
That's
you.
neither here nor there.
No.
We are sponsored by Disney.
This podcast sponsored by. Yes, I sadly have to say I will not be enduring this film again. I hope to never have to. Although since irony and karma is always in the cards, I'm sure for some reason Charlotte will become infatuated with this movie and I'll have to watch it 10 times. So
I'd say if I have to say yes or no, I'm going to go no.
I'm going to say, but
I'm gonna
don't you
say
want to
no.
watch Home Alone? But
Right.
wouldn't you rather
Right.
watch
A better
any other-
version of this?
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Please follow, rate, review, like, and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Tune in next week when we review another cinematic masterpiece from our childhood. Until then, later toads.